Look, we were just talking to Tenby Powell, and Tenby, a practical kind of guy, former mayor of Tauranga. Some of you, judging from the text, are a little bit hurt about the way he left you without any democracy. But he's working on a real practical level to get more ambulances to Ukraine, and as he said, concentrated in the east and south or southeast of the country, almost exclusively through Kiwi Care. But of course we have a Ukrainian population, an expat population here, and they've been dealing too probably with the conflict after 2 years on a more personal level. And we've spoken a couple of times to Kate Turska from Mahi for Ukraine. And I thought it'd be good to catch up 2 years on with Kate again. Kate, how are you? Good morning. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning, Sean. I'm well, thank you.
All right. We were just talking to Tenby Powell, and he says the exodus, the refugee problem, has slowed. Quite a few people have gone back to Ukraine. Why is that? And is that the case?
Yes, that's what we're hearing as well here in New Zealand. I'm not necessarily sure exactly what's the case for every single individual. Obviously, everybody has their own circumstances. But what we're hearing anecdotally, it varies. Some people find it very hard being away from home. You must consider that those who have moved here as a result of the Russian invasion, they did not plan this in advance. It wasn't their desire to immigrate. It's different to those people who make a choice. And so after some time, people struggle potentially with language or securing employment. There are instances where, obviously, as you know, the current Ukraine special visa category does not really entail any support. And so they're relying on their family members, they feel like they're a burden to them. So there's various differences and various reasons why people would return. But we know that more than half of those who arrived originally on the Ukraine special visa have now returned back to Ukraine.
So how many did come to New Zealand on the special? What was the height, if you like?
The height would have been about 800 people.
Wow.
And we currently have around 300. Well, actually, we don't have the latest stats. We have requested those and we're expecting them. But the last time we spoke to the immigration around this was end of last year, and there was around 300 that were still on shore. Okay,
which I think is worthy noting, Kate, because often in situations like this, perhaps the more xenophobic amongst us say, they're just looking for an excuse to come and live in New Zealand. That's really the truth, that this was a move of necessity. These people were genuine refugees that out of 800, 500 have returned home when the opportunities arisen.
Yes, and I mean, individually, obviously everybody has their own story. But by and large, these people came to really unite with their families in the time of hardship. And it's only fair that they would do so when something happens like this in their homeland. But equally so, these people have found it quite hard in some instances and absolutely made that choice to return, even though it's still not safe, very much not safe back in Ukraine. In fact, in some areas, the situation has worsened.
Yeah. How have those 300 who stay, how have they found coming to and adapting to New Zealand? Has it been relatively easy for them?
Well, nothing's easy. Obviously, these individuals are traumatized in a lot of instances, and like I said, they're not prepared necessarily for immigration. Majority of them may not necessarily have language ability, but we hear some success stories as well. We hear people really loving it here in New Zealand, have felt welcome and accepted, found employment, or started schooling. We have families with children. So it varies from family to family. We obviously had the Red Cross program that started with the Pathways to Employment, and they have successfully employed 26 people, I believe, to date.
Right.
Through that program. And then other individuals regionally have also, some of them have found employment. So because, as you know, their family members supporting them financially, so they're not actually sitting on anybody's neck, and they either have their family members supporting them or they are looking for jobs themselves if they're able to. And then we have elderly who potentially finding it a bit harder. It's, moving across the world into a different country, different language, different culture, everything I know, and it's hard for most people, but especially so it can be hard on elderly. So, we have people who have talked to us about loving their life in New Zealand and feeling really appreciative and grateful, and others who just can't wait to return if they're able to.